Hello, everyone, and welcome to AI, where we talk about how artificial intelligence is transforming the world around us. Today, we're continuing our series on entrepreneurship, and this episode is special because we're going to look at what research says about AI's impact on entrepreneurs. Now, AI has been called a great equalizer, the productivity booster, and even a business partner. But what's true, what's hype, and what should entrepreneurs really look before diving in? That's exactly what we're going to unpack today with the help of Christian, who's been digging deep into the academic research on this topic. Christian, what does the evidence tell us about entrepreneurship and AI?
Thank you, Oscar. Let's start with the big picture. We wanted to find out how AI is really influencing entrepreneurial performance, not just what people say it does, but what the data shows. To do that, we focused on 4 studies that stand out for their rigor. These are controlled experiments, which is the gold standard for research. In each study, some participants were allowed to use AI tools, while in others, they weren't. Everyone completed the same tasks, and researchers compared the results. Across these studies, the tasks varied. One was coding projects, the second one was customer support, the third one was writing and editing, and the fourth one, consulting or business planning tasks. Each of these tasks measure productivity or quality in slightly different ways, depending on the context. For example, lines of code produced, customers helped per hour, or writing clarity. And here's the takeaway. In all 4 studies, productivity increased when participants used AI. In other words, people were able to do more or do it faster with the help of AI.
So that sounds like great news, but is AI helping everyone the same way, or does it depend on your skill level or some other thing?
That's actually a really great question, and that's where things get really interesting. The studies show that the biggest productivity gains come from those who started at the lower end of the skill spectrum. The top performers, the very experienced coders or writers, didn't get much faster with AI, but the less experienced participants caught up dramatically. So when we look at the averages, performance goes up mostly because AI helps lift the bottom of the distribution. That's why some people describe AI as the skill equalizer. It narrows the gap between experts and beginners.
That's fascinating. So AI is a kind of democratizing force, but I imagine it's not equally good at everything, is it?
Correct. So that's the other important piece. And this is where the concept of the so-called jagged frontier comes in, a term that was popularized by Ethan Mollick. It basically means AI is uneven. It performs really, really well on some tasks and not so well on others. Look at this chart. In areas like coding, assistance, brainstorming, and writing drafts, AI performs really well. But in others, such as fact-checking, reasoning with ambiguous data, or tasks requiring deep domain expertise, it can lower the quality of the work. In one study, when participants used AI for tasks where it's weak, output quality dropped by up to 19%. So it's not a universal booster. Entrepreneurs need to know where to trust AI and where to be cautious.
So it's not about whether you use AI, but how and for what. That connects perfectly to our first episode where we talked about fit, that entrepreneurs need to pick the right tool for the right job. Can you give us examples of where AI clearly shines versus where we should be careful?
Sure. Let's divide these into 2 buckets. AI is very strong at coding for routine or modular tasks, so think about debugging or generating templates. Idea and creativity, so here we have brainstorming for product ideas or names. Writing assistance, so here we have paraphrasing, summarizing, or improving tone and grammar. And persuasive communication, crafting a marketing copy, fundraising pitches, or outreach messages. Outside the frontier, areas to be cautious about: first, complex quantitative analysis like financial modeling or forecasting, fact-based research where accuracy and citations matter a lot, sensitive or proprietary tasks because AI may not know your internal data, and sharing it publicly can pose risks. For entrepreneurs, that means use AI as a creative partner, not as a chief data analyst, unless you're working within a secure private system.
Very good. So in practical terms, a founder could use AI to draft a business plan, improve the language in an investor pitch, or generate code for a prototype, but they shouldn't rely on it for their market forecasts or internal analytics, right?
Exactly, and that connects to another crucial point: data privacy and proprietary information. Publicly available AIs don't have access to your company's confidential data, so their advice is often very generic. And if you feed sensitive data into public models, you might be violating privacy or IP rules. The good news is that private or enterprise versions of AI, like those integrated into company systems, can safely use internal data to improve recommendations. So, the future is likely a hybrid: public AI for creativity and communication, and private AI for strategic and data-driven tasks.
That's a great way to frame it, actually. Before we wrap up, if we think of this form of an entrepreneur's perspective, what's the bottom line?
Here's how I would summarize it, Oscar. First, AI boosts productivity, but mostly by helping those who are less experienced. Second, it is uneven. It is great for creative, communicative, and repetitive tasks, weaker for complex and data-heavy ones. It's not magic. That's the third one. Entrepreneurs still need judgment to know when to trust it. Fourth, it's a tool for leverage, to do more with less, but not to replace thinking.
Perfect. Thank you, Christian. So if you're an entrepreneur, the question is not, should I use AI? It is actually, where does AI give me leverage and where should I slow down and think for myself? That's a powerful takeaway. In our next video, the third in the series, we'll talk about practical opportunities, what founders can do right to integrate AI safely and effectively into their businesses. Until then, check the show notes for links to the studies we discussed. If you've already tried using AI in your startup, tell us your experience in the comments. Did it help? Did it make things messier? We'll feature some of your stories next time. Please consider giving us a thumb up or subscribing to our channel. We are very new in YouTube and every like counts for a lot.
Thanks for watching, and see you in the next episode of AI, or III.
Have
Bye.
a great day. Bye.